The shop alarm that changed everything. The small alien town of Jurek 9 was quiet that morning. Vendors opened their shops. Children walked to school. The sun shined on metal roofs and machines hummed peacefully. Then suddenly, a loud alarm screamed. Everyone froze. Shopkeepers looked up. Customers stepped back. The sound was coming from Groba's general store, the biggest food shop in the center of town. Groba, a thick and angry alien merchant with 4 red eyes, ran out yelling, "Thief! Someone is stealing from me!" A blur ran past him. It was a woman, thin, dirty, and breathing hard. In her shaking arms, she held a small bag of food. Behind her, just a few steps away, a tiny child followed, barefoot and scared. "Stop her," Groba roared. "Catch the thief!" Guards rushed from their posts. Civilians stepped aside. The woman clutched the food like it was life itself. Her child stumbled but kept following her. She didn't get far. The guards cornered her in the market square. She held her child close as if she could shield him from the world. Her breathing was fast. Her face showed no anger, only fear. One of the guards raised his hand to strike her. "Wait," a human voice said. Everyone turned. A tall man stood at the edge of the crowd. He wore a brown coat, dusty boots, and carried no weapon. He had deep eyes and a calm face. No one knew his name. He had arrived in town just a week ago. Groba growled, "This isn't your business, human." The human walked slowly toward them. "She didn't steal for greed," he said. "She stole for survival." "Thieves are thieves," Groba snapped. "Punishment is death or exile, that's the law." The human looked down at the little alien child. The child's cheeks were hollow. His eyes were full of hunger and fear. He held onto his mother's leg like she was the last thing keeping him alive. "She's a mother," the human said. "Look at her. Look at her child. They're starving," the crowd whispered. Some looked away. Some nodded. Others shook their heads. One of the guards asked, "Why do you care? She's not human." The human stepped closer. "Because I am." Silence fell. The mother looked up at him confused. She didn't understand why he was helping. No one ever had before, not even her own kind. "I will pay for the food," the human said. "Double its price." Groba spat on the ground. "I don't want your money. I want justice." "Then give her a fair trial," the human said. "Let her speak." Groba crossed his arms. "Fine, she can speak before the town chief, but it won't change anything." Later that afternoon, the market square became a court. The alien mother stood weakly, holding her child. The human stood beside her like a silent shield. The town chief, an old alien with silver horns, sat high on a stone chair. "Tell us why you stole," he said. The mother spoke softly. Her voice shook. "My name is Vera. My child is Malen. His father died in the mine collapse last winter. I looked for work, but no one would hire me. They said I was too weak. I begged for food. No one gave. My son has not eaten in 2 days. I saw bread, mayo, and I broke." Some in the crowd lowered their eyes. Others looked angry. "Why didn't you go to the aid center?" someone shouted. "There is no aid center anymore," Vira whispered. "They closed it last month." The chief looked at the human. "You defend her?" "Yes," the human said. "Because sometimes law and justice are not the same thing." Groba barked. "She stole. You call that justice?" The human took a breath. "Back on Earth, I had a little sister. She once stole an apple from a cart. We had no food, no father. My mother cried when she found out, but not because of the law. She cried because her child was starving, just like this mother." No one spoke. After a long pause, the chief stood. "Tomorrow we decide her fate. For now, she stays in the holding cell." Guards took her away. Her child screamed and tried to follow, but a guard grabbed him. That's when the human stepped forward and gently took the child's hand. "He stays with me," he said. The guard hesitated. The chief nodded slowly. "Let the human care for the boy until judgment is given." The human picked up the little alien child. The child didn't cry anymore. He looked into the human's eyes and saw something he didn't see in others. Hope. The courtroom was not made of stone. It was built from scrap metal, broken ship parts, and old solar panels. But for Vera, the alien mother, it felt heavier than any prison. She stood behind a thin barrier, her wrists bound with glowing blue cuffs. Her child, Malin, sat in the arms of the human who had defended her, still unnamed to most, but already a symbol of something different. The town was gathered. Whispers filled the room. She stole food, one voice said. She's a mother, said another. Why did the human stop her punishment? Maybe humans are just strange like that. The chief raised his hand. Silence followed. Vera, of the lower Warrens, he began. You are charged with theft during market hours, putting lives at risk by triggering panic and resisting arrest. What do you say? Vira's voice was soft. I did take the food, but not to harm, only to feed my child. Groba, the shop owner, stood angrily. She made a fool of me. What happens if everyone starts stealing bread now? Will they all say they are hungry? The human finally stepped forward, child still held close to his chest. The boy clung to his jacket tightly. I would like to speak for her, the human said. The chief nodded. Speak. The human turned to face the crowd. Back on my planet long ago, hunger was common, but one thing we learned. Starving someone doesn't teach them a lesson. It just teaches them to fear. Groba crossed his arms. She could have asked. She did, the human replied calmly. 6 shops turned her away. I checked myself this morning. That made people shift in their seats. Eyes dropped. A few gasped. The human knelt so the boy could hear too. What this mother did wasn't right by your laws. But what you all did? Turning away a starving woman with a child. That wasn't right by any law of the heart. The chief looked down, from his seat. This is not a human world, stranger. Your kindness is noted, but our laws remain. Yes, the human agreed, and those laws say she deserves a trial. So let's ask the people. Not just if she broke the law, but if she deserves punishment or mercy. Murmurs spread again. Groba shouted, You want to vote? What is this, a circus? No, the human said. It's a mirror. Everyone stared. They took a recess. Outside, the human sat on a bench with Malin. The little boy had fallen asleep on his chest, safe for the first time in days. Vera sat behind glass. She could see her son through it but couldn't touch him. Guard walked by and whispered, Why help her? She's nothing. The human looked up and answered softly, No one is nothing, not while they're still alive. Back inside, the town chief returned with an idea. We will allow voices from both sides. Let the people speak. First came Groba. He shouted about respect, about rules, about fear of chaos. She stole once, she'll steal again, he declared. Then, an old alien woman stepped forward. I once saw Vera giving food to another mother even when she had little. That was months ago, before her husband died. Others joined. She used to clean my store, said one. She always greeted me. With a bow, said another. She never begged loudly, just looked down and walked away. More stories came. Slowly, the image of a criminal became something else. A widow. A mother. A quiet fighter. Then the chief stood. Thank you. We will now decide. Groba shouted one last time. You, let this go, and the next thief will be worse. The chief ignored him. He looked at the human. You have taken responsibility for her child. Will you take it for her as well? The human nodded. Yes. If she steals again? I'll answer for it, the chief paused, then slammed his staff. Vera is free on one condition. She will live under the human's guardianship for 30 days. If she breaks the law again, both suffer the punishment. Vera's eyes widened. Why would you do this? She asked. The human. He smiled gently. Because someone once saved me the same way. As Vera walked out of the courtroom, her child ran into her arms. She dropped to her knees and hugged him tightly. The people watched in silence. Some turned away. Some wiped their eyes. And for the first time in many years, Vera whispered words she thought she had forgotten. "Thank you." The metal door of the human's home slid open with a soft hiss. Vera stepped inside, holding Malin's hand. Her eyes moved carefully, scanning the place. She expected cold steel, maybe chains or hard walls. But what she saw surprised her. Small fire flickered gently in a heater. Blankets were folded neatly. On a corner table sat a plate of warm bread, 2 boiled root fruits, and a cup of clear water. She froze. The human turned to her and spoke in a calm voice. "It's not much, but it's yours." Vera stared at the food, unsure. You made this?" He nodded. "Food first, then questions." Malin ran to the table. He looked at his mother, waiting for permission. She gave a small nod. The boy began to eat, not like a child who was hungry, but like one who feared the food might vanish if... He blinked. The human watched in silence. Vera moved slowly to sit beside Malin. She picked up a piece of bread, then paused. "You could have left us," she said. "Why didn't you?" The human shrugged. "Because I couldn't." "That's not a reason," he smiled faintly. "Maybe it is." For days, life grew quieter. Vera helped around the house. She didn't speak much, but she listened. She folded sheets, cleaned plates, and watered the plants near the window. Malin laughed for the first time in weeks. He drew shapes on the floor, with chalk, and ran between chairs pretending they were spaceships. And the human? He never asked for anything, no work, no favors. No debt. Vera didn't understand. One night after Malin had fallen asleep, she sat across from the human and finally asked, "Are you some kind of priest?" He chuckled. "No." "A warrior then?" "No." "Then what are you?" He looked out the window at the stars. "Just a man trying to sleep at night without guilt." She tilted her head. "You feel guilt?" "Sometimes. Back on Earth, I didn't always do the right thing. I left people behind, let others starve. Told myself it wasn't my problem. Then one day, it was my problem." He looked at her. "That day was the day I swore to never look away again." The next morning, Vera found a box outside their door. Inside were small fruits, 2 packets of tea, and a note. For the brave mother who didn't give up. "Renda, from the herb stall." Vera touched the note as if it were gold. One by one, neighbors began to leave things. A broken toy for Malin, a scarf, a half bag of rice, silent apologies without words. But not everyone was kind. That same afternoon, as Vera walked back from the well, she heard angry whispers. "Thief. She's just acting nice now. Humans being fooled." She turned and saw 3 aliens staring. One of them spat on the ground. She said nothing, just held her water jug tighter and walked on. That night, the human found her sitting alone outside. "You heard them," she said without looking at him. "Yes. And?" He sat beside her. "Let them speak. Words are wind. Wind never broke." "A mountain." Vera looked down. "I don't want your pity." "I don't give pity," he replied. "I give chances." She turned to him. "Why not just leave this place? You could go to a better colony." He smiled. "Maybe. But then who would protect the ones who can't run?" She went quiet. Then softly she asked something she never dared before. "Can someone like me become strong again?" He looked at her with steady eyes. "You already are." Over the next few days, something began to change. Vera stood taller. She walked, without lowering her eyes. She asked questions. She laughed once when Malin fell into a bucket of flour. She scolded him gently. She began to smile, and one day she brought the human a gift, a handmade satchel she had sewn from scraps. He took it with a nod. "Thank you." "No," she said. "Thank you. For bread. Not chains. But peace is never permanent." One evening, As the sun turned orange and lights flickered on, a shadow fell over the doorway. Groba stood outside, arms crossed. "I'm not done with you," he told the human. "You should be," the human said. "You think kindness erases crime?" Groba hissed. "You humiliated me in front of the whole town. I want her gone." The human stepped forward. "You'll have to go through me." Groba's 4 eyes narrowed. "Then you've made an enemy." He left. The air felt colder after. That inside, Vera stood near the door, trembling slightly. Melaine ran to her. She knelt and hugged him tight. "He can't take us," she whispered. "Not now. Not ever." The wind howled outside the shelter. Night had fallen, and with it came a strange silence. The human sat on the floor, sharpening a small tool. Across from him, Vera folded worn clothes. Malin slept nearby, wrapped in thick blankets, holding a small toy carved from scrap. The peace inside the house was soft, but thin. Vera hadn't smiled all day. She kept glancing at the door. "You're afraid he'll come back," the human finally said. Vera didn't deny it. "Groba doesn't forget or forgive." The human put down his tool. "Then we'll be ready." She looked at him, her eyes hollow. "You don't know him like I do. Before the mines collapsed, he owned us. Not just with debt, with fear. My husband worked for him until the day the walls caved in. Groba never even sent help, just collected what was left." The human's jaw clenched. Vera took a breath, slow and heavy. "After my husband died, Groba offered to take me in, said I could work for food, but his hands—" She didn't finish. Her voice cracked. The human closed his eyes for a moment. Then he stood, walked to a small cupboard, and brought out a steel box. He opened it gently and pulled out a roll of bandages, a small blade, and a brown cloth patch. "This is my kit," he said softly. "Not just for wounds you can see." Vera looked at the items, then looked away. "I'm fine," she said. "No," he said. "You survived. That's not the same." The next day, Vera did something she hadn't done in a long time. She left the house alone. She walked to the town well with an empty jug. Heads turned, some stared, some whispered, but she kept walking. She stood straight. She looked forward. And when a young alien girl bumped into her and dropped her bag of vegetables, Vera bent down, picked them up, and handed them back with a gentle smile. The girl smiled back. Back at the shelter, the human was repairing a light panel when someone knocked. It was Renda, the herb seller. "I heard Groba's gathering people," she warned. "Not just words now. Hired muscle from the transport docks." The human's eyes narrowed. "He's building a case?" "No," Renda said. "He's building a fight." That night, the human trained quietly. He checked the locks, strengthened the walls, hid Malin's bed behind a thick curtain, and placed tools near every doorway. Not weapons, just things to buy time. Vera watched. "You think we'll be attacked?" "I think it's safer to be ready." She paused. "You fight well?" "Enough to protect." She walked to the window. "I wish I could protect too." "You will," he said. "I don't have your strength." He smiled gently. "That's not true. You're just fighting a different kind of war." Later, when Melaine was asleep again, Vera sat by the fire with the human. "I had dreams once," she whispered. "Before the mines, before hunger. I used to make clothes, stitched by hand, patterns passed down from my mother. Why stop? There was no thread, no time, no peace." She pulled out a bundle from her satchel, a small square of cloth carefully folded. A tiny stitched flower marked the center. "I've kept this all these years. It was the last thing I made, before everything fell apart." The human took the cloth and admired it. "This is beautiful." She nodded. "But what use is beauty in a world that only sees worth?" He looked at her. "Then let's build a world that sees both." The next morning, trouble came. A knock, loud, angry. The human opened the door. 3 aliens stood outside, big, armored, and hired. Groba wasn't with them, but his name was clear in their tone. "We were told this woman is living here," one said. "She is," the human replied. She broke laws. She owes debts. She owes nothing to Groba. One of them stepped forward. Move aside, human. The human didn't move. Then Vera stepped forward from behind. Wait, she said. Take your message back to Groba. Tell him I'm not afraid anymore. I'll speak to the council if he tries anything. The guards laughed. You? Speak? The human answered, voice sharp. Yes. And I'll stand with her. The guards growled but didn't fight. Not yet. They left. But not without warning. This isn't over. That night, Malin asked his mother a question. Are the bad men coming back? Vera looked at him gently. Maybe. But if they do, they'll see something they didn't expect. What's that? She looked at the human sitting by the door, silent and watchful. A family that won't run. The wind carried dust across the streets of Jurek 9. Shops opened late. Windows stayed shut. Word had spread. Groba was angry. And Groba never stayed angry quietly. Inside the shelter, Vera boiled roots for breakfast. The human sharpened a dull tool while watching the door. Malin played with a toy spaceship, crashing it gently into pillows. But there was tension in the air, heavy and silent. Vera placed a bowl in front of the human. Do you think he'll come himself this time? The human didn't answer at first. He took a slow breath. If he feels he's losing control, yes. Bullies like Groba don't fight fair. They wait, then strike hard. Vera looked at Malin. He shouldn't be here if something happens. He should be with you, the human said gently. That's where he's safest. A soft knock came at the door. Vera froze. The human stood. His hand rested lightly on a wooden rod leaning against the wall. But it wasn't Groba. It was Renda. She stepped inside quickly. Groba is gathering people at the square. He's telling lies, saying you're a criminal hiding in a human's house, that you attacked his workers. Vera's eyes widened. I haven't touched anyone. I know, Renda said, but he's planting the idea. And some believe him. The human looked toward the window. Then he's getting desperate. By midday, the square was full. Groba stood on a raised platform, 4 guards behind him. His voice boomed through a speaker crystal. Do we want thieves in our town? Do we want humans hiding criminals? Feeding them? Training them to turn against us? The crowd mumbled. Some nodded. Some looked unsure. Groba raised a photo, blurry, low quality. It showed Vera standing at the well, speaking to the human. The angle made it look like they were plotting something. Proof, Groba said, that she is building a rebellion, with his help. The people gasped. Just then a voice cut through the noise. Lies. Everyone turned. Vera stepped into the crowd, holding Malin's hand. The human walked beside them. Calm, unafraid. Gasps rippled through the town square. I have no army, Vera said. No weapons, no plans. I have only my child and my truth. Groba stepped down, smiling like a predator. So brave now that you have a pet human to hide behind. The human raised his voice. Enough. Say what you came to say, Groba. Groba's eyes narrowed. I want justice. She owes me labor and pain. You mean control, the human said. She refused you, and now you want revenge, Groba snarled. I want her gone, or this town will suffer for protecting her. Murmurs spread again. Fear grew. Then, something unexpected happened. Renda stepped forward. If she leaves, I leave. 2. Another voice came, an old shopkeeper. She helped me once, when no one else did. A young worker raised his hand. I saw Groba lie. I saw him threaten her child. Now the crowd turned. The human looked at Groba. Seems like your truth is falling apart. Groba's face twisted in rage. You think this is over? You think this crowd scares me? He pulled a small device from his coat, a signal beacon. Within seconds, a transport ship flew low overhead. It landed hard. The doors opened, and 5 mercenaries stepped out, tall, armored, silent. Groba grinned. You wanted to fight fair. I never promised that. The mercenaries stepped forward. The crowd scattered, screaming. Parents pulled children back. Shopkeepers ducked inside, but the human didn't move. He stepped in front of Vera and Malin. No armor, no gun, just courage. The lead mercenary aimed his weapon. Step aside. No, the human said. The tension was sharp. Death hung in the air. Then a scream broke the silence. Stop! It was Malin. He ran forward and stood in front of the human, arms outstretched. You can't hurt him, he cried. The mercenary paused. Vera grabbed Malin and held him close. The human's voice was steady. Do you want to shoot a child? In front of everyone? The mercenary hesitated, looked at the crowd, and slowly lowered his weapon. Groba roared. What are you doing? I paid you. The mercenary stepped back. We're not executioners. We were told it was a thief, not a family. One by one, they turned and re-entered their ship. The engines roared. Then they were gone. Groba stood alone, his power, his threat, gone. People surrounded him now, not to follow, but to judge. The chief arrived, escorted by town guards. Groba, you've broken peace, lied to the people, threatened a child. Groba stammered, but she will stay, the chief said. You will leave. Groba's scream echoed as he was dragged away. That evening, as the stars appeared, the town was quiet again. Vera sat with Malin on the front steps. The human brought them bread, warm from a neighbor's oven. Will he come back? Malin asked. Vera smiled gently. He won't hurt us again. The human sat beside them. You're safe now, he said, but Vera looked at him with a deeper thought. No, she whispered. We're not just safe. We're seen. The stars above Jurek 9 blinked quietly as if the galaxy was holding its breath. In the shelter, Vera tucked Malin into his blanket. The child smiled sleepily, his hand still clutching the toy spaceship the human had carved for him. You're safe now, she whispered, brushing a lock of hair from his forehead. No more running. The human leaned on the doorway, arms crossed, watching them. He's strong, like his mother. Vera smiled, just a little. And like the human who didn't walk away. But peace, as always, didn't last. It was deep into the night when the door burst open with a crash. The force knocked the human back. Vera screamed. 3 shadows rushed in, masked, armed, silent. Malin woke up with a cry, reaching for his mother, but one of the attackers grabbed him. No! Vera shouted, lunging forward. Another attacker struck her with the butt of a weapon. She collapsed, dazed. The human was already up, bleeding from his forehead. He grabbed a rod from the table and struck the nearest attacker. A loud crack echoed, metal against bone. One fell, but the other 2 escaped into the night, with Malin. Vera chased after them, barefoot, blood on her cheek. The human followed close behind. The night was cold. Lights flickered. Alarms didn't sound. No one had time to trigger one. They reached the edge of town. Tracks in the dust pointed toward the canyons. They're going to the old smuggler route, the human said. It's fast and dark. Then we go after them, Vera said, fire burning in her eyes. You're hurt. I don't care. That's my son. The human nodded. Then let's bring him home. The canyons were sharp and narrow, filled with shadows. Ancient tunnels from mining days wound through the rock like veins. Echoes bounced with every step. The human's flashlight flickered, then steadied. Vera walked beside him, limping slightly but refusing to slow down. Suddenly they heard it, Malin's voice. Crying. He's close, Vera whispered. They moved faster. In a clearing, they found the 2 remaining kidnappers. Malin was tied, sitting on a rock, shaking in fear. One attacker had a stun rod. The other aimed a plasma pistol. Step back, one of them shouted as Vera and the human appeared. You took a child, the human said coldly. There's no walking away from this. He's Groba's property, the man yelled. The boss paid for her and the kid. Vera's heart pounded. Groba is gone. Banished. You think he doesn't have friends? The human didn't answer. He charged. He was fast, faster than they expected. He tackled the one with the pistol. They rolled, on the ground, struggling. Vera ran for Malin. But the second attacker blocked her, swinging the stun rod. She ducked. He missed. She grabbed a rock and struck his leg. He howled. The human punched the other attacker and knocked the pistol away. But he got hit in the ribs, hard. He grunted but didn't stop. He fought with everything, his fists, his arms, his heart. Vera slammed her shoulder into her attacker's chest, pushing him back. She cut the ropes binding Malin with a piece of broken glass. Malin ran into her arms, sobbing. "I've got you," she whispered. "I've got you." The attackers tried to get up again, but this time, it was the human who stood first. He kicked the pistol far away. "You come near them again," he said, voice low, "and I won't be this gentle." They scrambled away into the dark, limping, broken, afraid. The walk back to town was long. Vera carried Malin on her back. The human limped beside them, holding his ribs. Blood stained his shirt. But he smiled. "You're hurt," she said. He looked at her. "So are you. But you still fought. So did you." They reached the town gate just as the first light touched the sky. Guards saw them and rushed to help. Word spread like fire. By sunrise, the whole town knew. Malin had been taken, and his mother and the human had brought him back. Together. Later, as the healer patched the human's wounds, Vera sat beside his bed. Malin held her hand, eyes wide. "You shouldn't have come," the human said softly. "It was dangerous." Vera shook her head. "You came for us." The human gave a tired smile. "I would again." Then, Malin climbed into the bed and hugged him tightly. Vera watched them. And something changed in her heart. This man wasn't just a helper. He was family. Outside, the people of Jurek 9 gathered. And for the first time, they weren't whispering. They were cheering. A warm breeze moved through the town of Jurek 9. For the first time in months, the sky was clear. No alarms, no shouting, no fear. In the center of the marketplace, a statue was being built, not of a soldier or a leader, but of a mother and her child. Below it, a small plaque read, "Courage comes in many forms." The human stood nearby, watching silently. His ribs still ached. His arm was in a sling, but his heart was full. Vera walked up beside him, holding 2 cups of steam-root tea. She handed him one. "You helped build all this," she said. He sipped the tea. "You were the one who stood up in front of everyone. You fought off trained mercenaries," she replied. "You ran into the night for your child. You got hurt saving him." They both smiled. Neither would admit who was braver. Inside their small home, Malin was drawing on the wall. A large son, a stick figure family, a small child, a woman, and a tall man. He labeled them with shaky letters. "Me, Mom, my human." Vera saw the drawing and paused. "You're human?" Malin nodded. "He protects us, so he's ours now." She looked at the child, then at the man sitting on the edge of the bed, tightening the brace on his shoulder. Something stirred inside her chest. A strange warmth. Not fear, not hunger. Something she thought she had lost long ago. Belonging. Later, that day, the town chief visited. "You've changed this place," he told the human. "People talk about helping now, about fairness, about hope." "I didn't do it alone," the human replied. The chief turned to Vera. "Do you wish to stay here, now that Groba is gone?" Vera looked at Malin playing outside. She looked at the shelter that was now their home. "I don't just want to stay," she said. "I want to live." The chief nodded and handed her a metal badge. "You're now an official citizen of Jurek 9, with full rights and protection." Vera held the badge tightly. This small thing, cold metal and numbers, felt like freedom. That evening, Vera made something special. Flatbread filled with herbs and tiny sweet roots. She hadn't cooked like this since her wedding day. The human, sat at the table watching the food sizzle. Smells like something big is happening, he joked. It is, Vera replied. She placed the food in front of him. You've done more than help, she said. You've stayed. You've fought. You've given without asking. He shrugged. It just felt right. I thought humans didn't stay. Some don't. But you did. He looked into her eyes. Because I found something worth staying for. Outside, neighbors passed by, dropping off small gifts. Fruit, new clothes for Malin, seeds for Vera's tiny garden. The kindness spread, one act at a time. Malin ran to the door, holding a wooden pendant carved into a small heart. Renda gave me this. She said it's for people you love. He placed it on the table. The human picked it up and stared at it, quietly. Vera sat beside him. I don't have much, she said softly. No land, no dowry, no rich family. He turned to her. But I have love. For my child. For the people who protect him. For the man who gave us a chance. She paused, heart pounding. If you're willing, I'd like you to stay not just as a friend but as family. The room went quiet. Even Malin watched silently, eyes wide. The human blinked. You mean, she nodded, be part of us. For real. Not by duty, but by choice. The human reached across the table and took her hand. His grip was gentle but firm. I already made that choice, he said. Malin clapped loudly. You're my human dad now. They all laughed. Weeks passed. The house grew warmer. Vera sewed clothes again. Malin began school. The human helped fix machines around town, often refusing payment. People still brought gifts, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. One night, Malin placed his drawings on the wall. Suns, stars, ships, and a family holding hands. Beneath it, in big letters, he wrote, Family is not just blood. It's who stays when others leave. And so, in a forgotten corner of a distant planet, a poor alien mother, her brave child, and one quiet human built something no war could break, a home.